You're listening to Force Majeure, an actual play Star Wars podcast. My name is Adam and I'm your host. And today's episode will be brought to you after these words from our sponsors.
It can sometimes feel hopeless. We know that. They seem bigger than us, stronger than us. Their voices are louder, their propaganda is omnipresent. They thrive on hatred and anger, turning sibling against sibling. They hold on to everything with an iron fist, crushing all resistance, all hope. Times are dark. We know that. But despair is their weapon. Hope is ours. We are stronger together than they can ever imagine. There is more that joins us than pulls us apart. We are greater than the sum of our parts. Tyranny is a coward's shield, but it is a shield made of gossamer. It cannot hold. They make these laws, they stoke up division, they crack down and they take from us. But we are more and we are mighty, and a new dawn is coming that will sweep them all away. A resistance, a rebellion, and even if you cannot fight, if you only believe, that is enough. They have not won, cannot win, as long as a single candle still burns. Hold on to each other, hold on to that belief, that hope, and we will get through this together to rise into the day. The Force is with us, always. Rise.
Hello everybody and welcome back to episode 2 of Augury Incorporated Investigations. There should probably be a colon and then a second title for this little arc, because this is a world and a scenario that I'm hoping to revisit at some point in the future, and at that point I will think of a name for the story, but for the moment I haven't got one. This is just episode 2 of it. So
it's like Pirates of the Caribbean where they then added the Black Pearl kind of thing?
Yeah, that's what I think is the plan. It's fine. It's all fine.
Nothing's
fine.
on fire, it's all mud.
Yeah, exactly.
The mud is on fire.
The mud is on fire.
The mud is on fire. I'm sorry, what were we doing?
My name's Adam. I am the GM for this adventure, and I'm joined around the table by some wonderful people who are going to introduce themselves now. Leslie, do you want to start? You're first on my monitor this time round.
That's confusing. Our faces moved. I am Leslie.
They do that. Look.
I'm found on places of the internet as Leslie GS, like on other podcasts. Soul Zero, Hiding Way, Flight Risk, and just generally being around, being a nerd. It's fun. I am playing Sean, the disaffected youth Barabel, who wears big clumpy boots.
Hi, I'm Lou. I tend to turn up mostly on Dungeon Majeure and occasionally here on Force Majeure whenever they need an additional voice. I'm playing Ruby, a Doug paparazzi.
Hi, I'm Mark from Coruscant Nights and the Other Place podcast. I am playing GU55, also known as Gus, who is a colonist, marshal, former police droid from Coruscant.
If you're interested, Sean is technically spec'd out as a soldier, but that's just because that had the stuff I wanted him to be able to do.
Yeah, saying Ruby's a spy, but for similar reasons.
Yeah. Gus actually makes sense. We're just kind of there.
Yeah.
It is only logical.
Where we last left our heroes, they had been contracted by a somewhat distraught young woman whose brother has gone missing and may have stumbled in to shark-infested waters, or perhaps Sharkticon-infested waters, for it looks like he may have stumbled onto the trail of La Cogstra Nostra, the dreaded robot mafia. Thus far, our hero's primary lead is a meeting set up with a sleazy, lean reporter, Mikabush Scatterban, known as Mickey Two-Face to his enemies. This meet has been set up at the Dogstar, a rec punk and cycle bar on, well, perhaps the rough side of town is the wrong description for a town where every side is rough. For Elmeron IV is a pineapple of sin, and this bar is merely one of the spiky nubbins.
You're just entertaining yourself now, aren't you?
I mean, how can he not be with the phrase spiky nubbin?
That's another Ewok character.
The caffeine's kicked in, lads. As the rain continues to hammer down on the mean city streets, and the neon sign for the Dogstar crackles in the condensation, our speeder pulls up to an alley nearby. The mud settles and the rain drums down on the windscreen. It is roughly 15 minutes before the time set for the meeting on the business card you found in the apartment. Players.
In the front passenger seat, Sean is currently wiping his Cheeto dust-covered fingers on the side of the cushion because he can't get it on his jacket because that's all black. Well, okay, it's supposed to be all black. It's also covered in mud. But orange streaks kind of ruin the vibe.
Sean, there are napkins in the glove compartment.
But then I would have to touch the glove compartment to get the napkins out.
It was cleaned after the last incident.
Fine.
You know this place better than either of us. What can we expect going into this situation?
Adam, what time of day is it?
Yeah, it's late evening. The music is thumping. The rain is driving. By this time, most of the regulars will probably been drinking in here for a good couple of hours. You can see a few swoop bikes parked up on the other side with cheap kind of shielding on them, so the rain is kind of pattering around them and like an outline around the bikes as where this shielding is maybe an inch off the surface of the entire bike. You know, they're like in a little cocoon of dry.
Okay.
The owner is a Clatoonian former bounty hunter called Rumpole, who invested his savings in opening up this bar where he could retire and listen to loud music, mostly. Consequently, there's not an awful lot of trouble at this bar compared to some others, because he's a former bounty hunter and still has all of his stuff. And in some bars where they might keep a stout club or knob carry beneath the bar, what he has is a disruptor rifle.
It's self-policing in a way, because if you start a fight, somebody's going to finish it.
Yeah.
Terminally.
Yeah, like throwing a punch, you know, is fine. That's considered good sports. Maybe even the odd knife or two, but if anyone starts bringing out anything more serious, especially in the ways of firearms, then they tend to get disintegrated. It's only temporarily bad for business, but, you know, them's the risks you take.
Is this a gig night or no?
It's not a gig night, no. It's probably the jukebox that's playing rather than a live band. It's certainly not loud enough to be a live band, because when this is a gig night, like, the mud shakes like a T-Rex is walking by from the bass.
Yeah, no.
So
when it's a gig night, there are people that wear full head hearing protection, basically. Yeah. No bith in a several mile radius.
Yeah.
So he'll kind of run down, like, you know, there's the standard swoop guys. They usually hang out to the one side of the door. There's some tables where a couple of people will play cards, I expect. Some sabacc, some Tetramaster, you know, that kind of random stuff. There is a stage, I expect, but it will be largely empty or being used to store stuff because there's nothing going on tonight. And now, is this, I feel like this is what Leslie wants. You can tell me if it doesn't work. Like, 90% of this bar is standard grunge. Kind of, it's concrete or paracrete or whatever they call it. But behind the bar is like, think the Winchester. Kind of, this is his pride and joy. And so it's like 10% classic British pub, hardwoods, fine gear.
Yeah.
And then from the bar forward is all like completely, you know, hose washable.
yes, yeah, very much so.
So, like, you know how some bars have those metal grates that come down in front of it. He actually has a very nice actual like shielding array.
Yes.
And Rumpole is he like good-tempered, or?
Yeah, he has the good cheer and temperament of somebody who doesn't need to prove that they are the hardest person in the room.
Okay. And the other question is twofold. How does he feel about actual law enforcement, since I literally am walking with somebody who looks a little bit like a cop?
A little bit. Stand it down.
And how does he feel about Augury?
So in terms of law enforcement, he's fine with it because there is no law enforcement on Elmeron IV. So
Okay.
even if you look like a cop, you're not a cop because there are no police.
Yeah, okay. I just wanted to be sure.
Augury, you don't know. It's not a subject that comes up very often. Yeah, it's not something that
Like,
has
we're
ever
not
come-
a big name. We're just kind of around.
You're not a big name, and also you're not the police.
Mm-hmm.
You're really there to stand up for the little guy that doesn't have anyone else to do it. So a lot of the normal people quite like Augury because it means there's someone to go to if they have to. You may not be cheap, but you have their back in a way that no one else does on this world that's basically run by the crime bosses and the Imperials. There's a rebel presence on here, but again, the rebels are very much in it for themselves and are mostly here because the Imperials have a presence here. At the starport, there's some form of Imperial weapons lab that they took over the starport. Scuttlebutt on the street is that some weapon or other was stolen from there fairly recently by some people that owed a debt to one of the various crime bosses, but
Who knows?
you've not been hired to look into that, so
Okay, so yeah, rundown of the what to expect when you get in there. There's a really nice corner, and then everything else is kind of grunge. Try not to run into people. Don't order joke drinks.
there are back rooms here that you can hire out to, make deals and talk business, because of course there are. Everywhere on this world, every dingy tavern, every bar, every restaurant has a shady dealings nook, because that's just the world you're in.
That's probably where his knowledge stops, though, because he's not going to be wealthy, and he's not going to really be into that kind of thing. So he knows where the doors are for that, and that's going to be about it. He knows every inch of the floor, but anything behind the scenes is beyond his ken.
Yep. Yeah, that seems fair.
Well, do we want to split the party? Somebody on lookout, somebody in the bar watching for the person, and somebody trying to meet the person, or...
I don't know if you've ever seen the header on my Twitter, but it is, in fact, split the party. Split the party.
I tend to be a split the party sort of person as a GM, but I don't know how the rest of you feel about that.
I love splitting the party. It's so much more just tactile. But I don't do it to be obtuse or obnoxious or make my GM work more than he wants to.
No, it's fine. I'm happy with that. It makes sense in the scenario.
Sean would like to go in because he can get set up without arousing suspicion. This is literally one of the places he hangs out. He has club nights here. You guys don't technically know what club nights are, but they're not nearly as ominous as they sound. If it comes up, we'll find out what club nights are, but if not, you'll just get to wonder.
It's not when you go around clubbing each other.
No, those are gig nights.
Ah, yeah.
Because I promise you, Sean's in that mosh pit,
Yeah.
listening to the Ithorian death cries.
Yeah.
I will go in. I have a seat that is usually mine. I will say hello to Peepo and see if he knows anything.
Shall we take care of this like we took care of the Catorian case 2 weeks ago? One of us watching the door for the perp, or suspect. One questioning on the interior, and all of us having open communications.
Ruby seems like they could sit at the bar and watch.
Oh, well, I know what this geezer looks like.
You make a good point.
So Sean takes that as a yes, we're splitting the party, and schlumps in. There's a boot scrape mat at the door, so we minimize some of the mud that gets actually inside the building. Otherwise, it's just a death trap of slip and slide hell, one of many. And his normal seat is kind of along the side wall, not in a corner, but in the inoffensive middle section. But he'll keep an eye out for Peepo if the sound guy shows up at some point.
In here, the music is a physical assault. It is loud. It's got the kind of thing where the percussion, you can feel it in your heart.
I'm trying to figure out if that would make pneumonia better or worse. Like, would it shake it out of your lungs or shake it into your lungs?
I mean, either way, you'll die happy. So
This is your jam, yes. If not, you're kind of hosed.
yeah. But yeah, it is loud in here. It is thick and smoky air from all the death sticks and tobacco being smoked.
Smoking.
They have smoking.
This is a classier joint than I expected if it's smoking.
Yeah. Well, yes,
It's actually just liquid smoke that they put in the incense burner to dissipate into the room.
But yeah, it is definitely smoky in here, and there are lights that are normally used for the gig, and when the gig aren't playing, they are still kind of directed just in the room, generally with blue and red, that are flashing, kind of cutting through the smoke. You know, you can see the beams of light coming off those. Along the edges of the roof, there are effectively fairy lights. You know, there's kind of industrial LED tubes that kind of chase lights around the place. There is a group of swoop bike gangers wearing their colours. It's the patch of the sarcastic Panthers sat in their usual table. They appear to be toasting in memory or mourning, because there is an empty chair with empty drinks in front of, and every time they take a shot, they kind of tip the shot in the direction of the empty chair, then knock it back. So yeah, it looks like it's a small seat. Looks like maybe it might fit a Jawa or something like that, you know, a small person. There's a lot of normal, regular drinkers in here anyway as well, you know, scattered around, shouting conversations over the music. It is dull, it is dingy. Very occasionally, bits of condensation drip from the ceiling and down. And you can see Peepo, who is sat in their customary place, kind of nursing a beer and occasionally looking at their watch. They're clearly waiting for someone to come in. And there's a few people kind of at the bar having a chat with Rumpole, who is, you know, serving them drinks. There are no droid servers in this place, it's mostly Rumpole. One or two other servers that are running around collecting glasses and that sort of stuff, but it's mostly Rumpole who's running the bar.
I'm having fun picturing a Klaatuanian scrubbing out like a giant pint glass. You know.
Yeah, he's wearing a white shirt with the sleeves rolled up to his elbows, like a leather waistcoat. You can see the chain of a pocket watch going in there. Braces.
Very nice. And murder in his eyes.
Yeah, he seems quite jovial, really. You know, he's smiling, kind of that big bulldog smile as he's pouring pints and handing things out. And on his hip is just an obscenely large blaster pistol. Like, it's basically a war crime in a holster.
And it's got, like, a name on it. It's it's got Rosebud or something, just written in something that's suspiciously reddish-brown.
As Gus moves in, he eyes that blaster and takes stock of his own, Betsy, on his hip. And I think he's going to move towards those back rooms.
Yeah.
I think we were probably all very careful to go in at different times so it does not look like we're together.
Yeah. Lou, are you going in last then? Is Ruby going in last, or...?
Yeah, we'll be going in last and sliding up to the bar, taking a perch on a bar stool, ordering a drink and just sitting there, nursing a drink. Probably the, fleshy tendrils from their chin just sort of, moving in time with the beat, just from the sheer volume.
Yeah, the music plays, time ticks on towards the appointed hour. Leslie, as you were the first one in there, you will have seen, kind of caught the tail end of, there was, in fact, I think probably, assuming you're going in about 5 minutes apart, Mark, you will have, and you're specifically looking towards the back room, you will have caught the tail end of this. But about 5 minutes after you got in there, so about 10 minutes or so before the meeting, from one of the seats around the pool table, you saw an Aline kind of step out of the shadows. They are more purplish in scale than green. They were wearing a long, for them, dirty brown trench coat down to just above their heels, and a hat, kind of a trilby hat, that they were wearing even inside here. They kind of secure it on their head as they go in, and furtively, more rat-like than lizard-like, they mooched over, had a conversation with Rumpole, and then went into the back room Mark, as you got in there and were kind of casting your eye around, you saw the elite basically step into the back room. Lou, by the time you get in there, the elite has gone. So about the 10 minutes before time point is when he went in.
So we've got open comms, so I would relay that information to everybody and then ask.
Yeah. That description matches Mickey's general attire and scale colour.
Should I go in after him?
Might be worth a knock on the door.
I approach the door and knock, assuming that somebody will.
Yeah, as you're kind of walking towards the door and kind of put your hand on it, Rumpole leans over and in a voice that carries despite the music goes, "Hey there, son. Where do you think you're going? You ain't rented no booth. I'd recognize your face."
Greetings. I have been sent by Dusko to meet with Mikabush Scatterban.
Dusko? He sent you? Where is the boy? He still owes me.
I cannot say.
Okay then. Well, Mickey's in there already waiting for you. Just keep it quick, I don't like him. He, stains the seats, you know.
I know exactly what you mean.
He kind of leans his arm back from across the door and waves you through.
I am going in. Opens the door and heads into the room.
So this is a corridor with 3 kind of smaller rooms off it on the left-hand side. The right-hand side kind of curves back along the back of the bar. It's like it's in and then an L turn kind of running along the back of the bar. With 3 rooms that will effectively lead. The rooms will, I suppose, back onto the back of the building, if you can kind of picture it. So yeah, they're behind the bar and as you kind of round that corner, you see the fire escape swinging closed. One of the room's doors is open.
Ruby, Sean, there might be more going on here than we planned for. Somebody may have just left through the back fire escape, or may have entered.
I'll go get him.
I'm going in.
So yeah, I'll swallow my drink, put some credits on the bar, and then go out the front to move around the back.
Mm-hmm.
To, get into pursuit. Yeah, flip the goggles down.
Yep. As you get round to the back, you can see a humanoid shape in a long coat running down the alleyway at the back and away.
I will set off in pursuit.
Okay.
And Gus enters the room.
Okay. I'm going to kind of smash cut between the 2 scenes, I think, at the moment as we go. So, as Ruby sets off in pursuit, the rain kind of down, your hand feet plapping in the mud, and this figure kind of zigzagging ahead of you. The weather picks up, the rain starts getting heavier, and a storm has rolled in. And in the crashes of lightning that's starting to come and the rumbling of the thunder, this person is moving strangely and erratically, and some of their limbs are moving in a way that an organic's limbs should not be able to move. Gus, you push open the door that is... Because of the 3 rooms, I say one of the doors was ajar.
Mm-hmm.
You push that door open, and you see Mikabush Scatterban slumped over the table, pooling blood pouring from him over the table.
Well, that is unfortunate. Is Mikabush clearly done for?
Yeah, you kind of pull him back, and there are multiple stab wounds in his front where it looks like there's been a frenzied assault. His left hand is in his pocket, and you can see that he's made a fist in that pocket. His right hand is open and again has kind of some defensive runes on him. On the table, in the blood just being put out by the spreading pool of liquid, is a cigarette, just kind of, and the steam rising as it's been put out.
Ruby, your friend Mickey is dead.
Oh no, what a shame.
And we cut to Ruby chasing down. Are you going to continue chasing this person?
Yeah,
down?
I'm going to continue chasing because, a murder has happened for a reason, though, it's taken out some of the competition, so I'm not that unhappy about it.
I would like an athletics test from you. This is going to be a chase scene, effectively. So can I please have... Yeah, it's going to be an athletics. It's going to be 2 purple and 1 setback. In the Destiny pool, there are 3 light side points if you want to use any of them.
So is any of this setback for moving through difficult terrain?
Yes, it is. It's from the mud.
Okay, I have Swift, which means that
Aha.
I'll move that setback.
Yep, yes you do.
And that is 3 successes and 2 disadvantage.
Okay, you are making ground on this figure, covering it so much quicker than anyone really should, given the mud. This figure is clearly just powering through, and you can see the deep divots as they're running, and you are just gliding over the top of that.
I'd imagine that Ruby's actually running almost quadrupedally.
Yeah, just kind of a ground-eating lope. For your disadvantages, though, the figure realises that you're chasing them. Maybe the crash of lightning caused your reflection to get caught in the eye. Maybe the speed of your plaps caught their attention, and they spin, turn their head, and you can see they are a droid with a wide, almost upside-down D-shaped head, 2 little ears poking up from the top through this hat that kind of blows off from the speed they're running. Their coat flips open and they're carrying in their right hand a vibro knife, and they grab 2 of the trash kind of bins that are outside and throw them at you, causing you to stumble a little bit and slowing you down a little. Then they take off again. Can you please make me another athletics test? So again, it's still 2 purple.
And that is 1 success and 2 advantage.
Okay, you have almost caught them up. They're trying to shake you off as they're moving round from alley to alleyway, but they just can't shake the tail. You are very, very close to catching them. What would you like your advantages to be?
So, could, they maybe slip during, because they've become a bit distracted, so they're a little bit off balance, sliding around in the mud?
Yeah, I think so. So, yeah, they take a corner too fast, and in the mud they slide and have to catch and right themselves, and they turn down another alleyway to try and get away from you. There are no lights out here, save the ones that are coming from the thunder cracks and from presumably your goggles, which I imagine you flipped on at this point to get a better look at them.
Yeah. I also forgot that I have shortcuts, so I should have added a boost into that.
Roll your boost. Add it on.
That's an additional success and an advantage.
You chase them round that corner and realise that they've come to the end of the alley. There is a big chain link fence in front of them, and they pick themselves up out of the mud and turn round to face you. The rain is hissing as it hits the field around their vibro knife, and you can see through your scanner goggles that they are indeed a droid. They are moving fast and they are moving quick, and they go, "Aha! Aha! You want to play? I'm gonna cut you so bad, you'll wish I never cut you so bad! No one dances with Stab Droid 5! I'm gonna stab you! Stab you! Aha!" And starts jabbing in your direction with the knife.
Chaps, I've cornered Stab Droid 5. Support? And I'm going to draw my blaster.
We cut back to Gus and Sean in the Dogstar. Gus still standing over the limp corpse of Mickey Two-Face.
Yeah, Gus is not squeamish and is going through pockets.
Lots of cigarettes, a notebook, a couple of data slates, and the item that is clasped in their fist is a torn piece of flimsy plast with coordinates on. It is clearly a map reference of some form, and then what is also clearly a code, like a security code.
Gus logs this information and comms Sean. Sean,
Yes.
please let our Platoonian friend know that there is a mess back here. I'm going out to follow Ruby. I would suggest that you do the same. Whatever got Mickey Two-Face appears to be very stabby.
Stab Droid 5.
Are we certain that it's not stab droids and the 5 is an affectation?
Look, I don't know, but it's about to stab me in the face, so can you crack on?
It appears that Ruby has caught the perpetrator. I will be off.
And Gus heads off into the driving rain, frantically trying to track Ruby down and catch up. I'm imagining that across your comms you have locators for each other if you need it, just so that you can, almost an emergency button in this sort of thing.
Yeah.
You should take the speeder.
The speeder is out front. You should take the speeder. I'm heading out back. Remember to use your seatbelt.
And I think we're going to go into initiatives. So, both for the speeder and for the running on foot, when we factor in the comparative getting in and getting sorted out times. It's going to be 2 rounds before you're able to catch up with Ruby and Stab Droid 5. This is going to be cool, I think, because you know something's going down. Ruby, I'd allow vigilance in your case instead, because, I don't know, I could see an argument for either, but for Sean and for Gus, it's definitely cool tests.
4 successes, 1 advantage.
Oh my goodness. I got a success and an advantage. I'm only surprised because my cool is 1 green.
1 success and 3 advantage.
A player, Stab Droid 5, and then 2 players is the initiative.
It should probably be Ruby.
Yeah, so he has got his vibro blade out and he's jabbing in your direction, having realised that at the moment there's nowhere for him to go. You are aware that help is coming, but will they get to you in time? That is the question.
Well, not being a particular, combat
Orientated being?
Yeah, saying, I can fight, but I prefer not to because I'm not great at it. What I'm going to try and do is get out of his way.
Okay, yeah.
Because, I'm quite an agile little swine. So what I'd like to do is basically kick off a wall and onto a low roof nearby.
Yep.
Yeah, with free running. So, suffer a strain to make a move to basically, kick off a wall and up to out of immediate stab range.
Yeah, that works fine. It still leave you in action.
And, then I would like to shoot him with my blaster.
Would you like to shoot him with your blaster, or would you like to throw a locator on his back as he's running away?
Does he look like he's going to run?
As you clear a path, because he was clearly trying to get away. Yeah, I think it's safe to say that if you get out of the way...
Yeah, in which case, as part of this, I'd like to, stick a surveillance tagger, on his back.
I would like a ranged light test, please, as you're throwing that onto his back as he's running. It's short range, so it's 1 purple. However, he is adversary 1, so that's upgraded once, so it's 1 red.
I encourage you to take the point if you feel you need it. This seems important.
Yeah, I'm going to take the light side point to...
Yep.
Well... So that is 1 success, 1 advantage, and a despair.
Okay, I know what's going to happen with that. So, you managed to throw it on his back. Would you like to spend your advantage for him not to notice?
Yes, I would.
What the despair is as he runs past, because it's his turn, he is, because you're clearly getting out of the way, I'm going to say that you're not quite fast enough, and he's going to swipe at you just as you're getting out of range, effectively. So he rushes you as you have to kind of run a bit close towards him to then jump on a bin, to then jump onto an overhanging fire escape kind of thing to get out of the way, and I think he's going to cut you up as he's running past. Do you have any defence?
Yes, 1 melee defence.
That's 3 success. That is 9 damage, pierce 3, as he shanks you, kind of as you're running past, kind of stabs you in the kidneys as you're leaping on with a ha! And then rushes past you into the mud, skids around a corner, and then is off.
No wonder Mickey Two-Face was so dead.
Yep. Ow.
Oh, buddy.
Yep. I've been very badly burned. Or very badly stabbed.
I heard a stab sound. Are you okay?
No, I'm not.
Very good. I will be there shortly.
And I think then with you having let him get away, I will drop back out of initiative, because there's no need for it if you're not standing trying to go toe-to-toe and hold him off until the rest of the group arrive. He bolts, and I think as kind of Gus, you come round the corner, you see Ruby probably still up the fire escape, kind of...
Yep. Holding their guts in.
A few seconds later, Sean pulls to a halt in the speeder, again kicking up a contrail of dust. Sean, in the headlights from the speeder, through the smog and the driving rain, you can just see at the far end of this alleyway this scarecrow figure in a trench coat, just at the edge of the beams of light, before it turns around again down another dark alley and is gone.
How close am I able to get to Ruby?
Fairly close, kind of. You can pull it into the alleyway.
All right, so I'll pull it just so we can stand on the top of the speeder and get them down with less faff.
Yeah.
Sean, have you been practicing medical care like I've been asking you to?
I know where the kit is in the speeder. I'll go rummage around in the glove box. Realize it's not in the glove box and rummage around in the console.
Yeah, in the console there is a kind of a small emergency med pack, a couple of stim packs in there, and gauze and bandages and that sort of stuff. Lots of antifungals, because on a world this wet when you've got scales.
Yeah, and all of the bandages are prepackaged, because if you leave them open, they're just going to mold.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're going to do what we can, which is probably not much. Administer some Bacta spray.
Get them in the car, where it's not raining.
You might want to put down a sheet.
This speeder has seen worse.
I know, but I don't want to leave all of my evidence all over it.
We'll just put you down next to the previous occupant's evidence.
Oh, that's comforting.
This is premium naga hide. It cleans easily.
Oh, that's wonderful. I feel so much better.
Perhaps you should stop speaking.
Not gonna happen, let's be perfectly honest with you.
Fair.
Stim pack. Psh.
Sean actually does have medicine as a career skill, but totally didn't take any ranks in it. Because he's 15, he thinks he can live forever. This is a great idea, let's do it.
Well, a stim pack will heal you 5 wounds straight away.
How much is a medicine check if that's under half then? Leslie, asking the hard-hitting rules questions.
Oh, the rules we never use.
Last night we were talking about fall damage, and today we're talking about medicine checks. It's all very exciting.
Less than half, it's a single purple.
Alright, do I get a bonus or a blue for having a med kit?
I think it just gives you the permission to do it. It's only a very basic med kit. I mean, it has stim packs in, one of which you've used. That's the main advantage.
That's what means that I can make an easy check instead of a more difficult one. So
yeah.
2 success. So that's what? Two more...
2 more wounds back.
Yeah.
Alright, so he's surprisingly deft when it comes to packing and taping a wound. So unless you do like some rigorous dancing or get in the mosh pit, the bandage should hold for a little while. However, you do need to change it regularly because of the nature of the
the environment.
Everything.
Of nature.
Yeah, the nature of nature.
Oh, that's fabulous. That's fabulous. Thank you there, Sean.
And then he digs in the med pack and produces a safety pop and hands it to you.
Oh, yes. So, yeah, this goes straight in, the massive camel snout.
I did not apprise Rumpole of the situation. We may need to return briefly.
Well, you certainly might need to if you're ever going to be allowed back in that bar again.
Which I would appreciate.
I will take care of it. I am good with people. I will try to smooth things over.
Well, this is worth a watch.
I am sure it is not. The nature of that establishment, there has probably already been a death since we left.
Last Tuesday, there were 3. We were assured it was an accident.
These things usually are. Do we actually need to go back to smooth things over?
No, we can hand wave that away as you kind of go back.
Well, I was actually curious if Peepo checking his watch was of any import, I'm going to be honest. Because you said it looked like he was waiting for someone.
Yeah. Well, I suppose as you go back to clean up, Peepo is deeply engaged in a passionate kiss with... You're not quite sure what species they are, but they are big. Possibly Dewutin, maybe...
Herglick?
Yeah, Herglick or Wookiee. They have moved to a darker corner and are wrapped in a passionate embrace with someone considerably bigger than they are. They have picked Peepo up, kind of, to... It's one of those ones, tilted them back, Peepo's legs up in the air.
Sean shakes his head.
They're on a promise. But yeah, you manage to smooth things over.
Yeah, I mean, all of Gus's ranks are in charm, leadership, negotiation, so...
Yeah, it seems a shame not to let you roll the skills, but I don't think we actually need to. You have enough ranks in that sort of stuff. One of the bits you kind of get off Rumpole is that the booth was paid for in advance, but he's not seen Dusko for, again, about 2 or 3 days. It was booked about a week ago.
Do we know which one of them paid for it?
Dusko paid for it.
Can we find out if Dusko's been flashing a lot more cash? Because
Yes, he has.
I was about to say, I feel like what Sean knows of him is, again, the poser kind of fish out of water, so...
Yeah, he's bought a few rounds for more people. He sent a round over at the sarcastic Panthers and kind of gave them an odd. They treated that with the contempt that happens when a poser tries to get in, but, they still drank the booze.
Oh, yeah.
But,
no.
yeah, he's been trying to make friends and flashing more money around.
Which honestly is a way to get yourself killed, but okay.
Gus will go ahead and ask about the droid mafia, La Cogstra Nostra.
Well, I don't really know much about that sort of thing. They're not really a droid bar here, they don't come in.
I did notice your lack of variety when it comes to Nepenthe.
Yeah, sorry about that, Chief. Just don't seem to get the clientele, and I don't tend to stock it if I don't want it going off beneath the counter, To be honest, they're the wrong type of sort to drink here generally. We've got the sarcastic Panthers who look after this place, and they don't like other underworldy types coming in, apart from gig nights, in which case anything goes, but the harmonics of rec punk that we play here tends to fry droid circuitry. They go all out on the electro show.
Gus is going to take Ruby aside as Sean maybe continues to ask questions if there are any.
General nosing.
Ruby, these droids seem particularly dangerous.
I would happen to agree with you there, Squire.
If Rumpole is correct, the speeder bike gang here would not take kindly to them infringing on their territory.
I mean, yeah, you could probably make that assumption, though I suppose it depends where their territories overlap.
Now, this would appear to be their territory, and the droids just committed a murder here.
Yeah, just iced a guy.
Perhaps we should tell the speeder bike gang.
I mean, that's a fair thing. And also, Ruby pulls a data slate out of their, battered leather jacket. I mean, I think it would be really handy if we could tell them exactly where they are. And luckily enough, I stuck a little tracker on our stabby friend.
I remember a time when a friend of mine started a war between two gangs on Coruscant. It did not end well for the gangs. Perhaps we could do that here.
I mean, it's certainly worth a shot. Though I have to say I'm not the most persuasive.
I will try. Yeah, I'm gonna go start a gang war.
Cool.
Yeah, no, that was the vibe I was getting.
Yeah, right.
I'm not sure why Sean was left out of this, but at the same time, I'm okay with it.
Young years. Young and impressionable.
Oh, you don't want him to think that starting a gang war is a viable tactic?
Starting gang war is a good thing to do.
Not for people in our line of work, no. I don't think this is something we should encourage.
I'm starting to see why you're a former marshal.
If in doubt, hit it with a hammer. And by hammer, mean, another gang.
Would the two of you like to come with me? This may prove entertaining.
Sean will turn away from where he was talking to Rumpole, and weirdly enough, their musical tastes intersect. But at the same time, you saw them exchange something, just quietly. And Sean turns away with, whatever it is, stuffing it in his pocket. And joins you holding a clear glass of some variety. Something that is like electric blue and fizzes with a slightly purple buzz.
We approach the gang.
You make your way over there. The person who's clearly in charge of the four bikers is a Deveronian. He is a hulking figure, and his horns have been drilled through and pierced effectively. He's got steel rings piercing his horns, kind of making their way up. Lots of tattoos. And yeah, he's a huge, probably 6'8", exceedingly muscled individual. And as you kind of make your way over, turns and looks at me and goes, "What do you want, Clanker?"
Greetings. Can I flip a light side point?
Yes.
Can one of his tattoos, like faded old tattoo, be a gang tattoo for the Blood Wolves from Coruscant?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Greetings. I can't help but notice that you are celebrating one of your fallen comrades.
Yeah, it was horribly murdered by some Gamorreans. We were having our 10th anniversary. We went to have a meal at some backwater planet, and he just got shanked. Half of our gang got taken out, so we've come back here, where it's comfortable. Make some more friends, you know. What's it to you, anyway?
I would like to buy a drink in honor of your fallen comrade.
Oh, that's uncommonly generous of you.
I see your tattoo. You are a former member of the Blood Wolves.
Aye. Oh, force rest 'em.
It is a shame what happened to them.
Tragic it were. There are some who say I'm a bit of a joiner for the gangs I join, because every single one of them comes to a tragic end. But, you know, that's just fair in the lifestyle we choose for lead.
Well, I have come to help, hopefully, prevent a tragic end for your current gang.
Ooh, that sounds suspiciously threatening.
I mean no such threat. Moments ago, a rival gang of yours committed a murder on these premises.
They did what now?
They did. La Cogstra Nostra, the droid gang, murdered a reporter in the back room.
Oh,
I wanted to warn you and let you know that we know where they are currently hiding.
oh, we can't be having that. People will think we've gotten soft. We've got reputational damage as it is from the loss of our poor old leader. Oh, well, I might have to come down on them with great fury and vengeance, get the rest of the boys around, maybe call in some favours. We can't be having that at all.
Fury and vengeance is exactly why we came to you.
Well, it's good to know we've not lost all of our reputation. Pull up a seat, my friends. Let's have a drink and raise it, and then tell me where these rapscallions are hanging out, so we can remonstrate with them more vociferously.
Ruby, Sean, please join us. Creaks down into a seat with his knees at his chest level.
Sean, playing all cool, will haul a nearby stool over and sit, but it's the wrong kind of stool for the table. It's actually like a bar stool, so he's actually sitting like almost at table height. So his knees are also kind of up because he's got them propped on the top rung, but he's trying to slump and look like he's not out of place.
Yeah, they race up to Detch. He was a lovely fella and didn't deserve it.
You're dead.
Ditch.
So where are they then?
So I pull up my scanner slate. Where is my beep?
It has come to rest at the Falasta Droid Works factory.
They're at the droid work, Squire. Where you'd expect a lot of droids to be.
Oh, do you know, I was hoping they wouldn't be so terribly cliched.
Well, some people have got no class.
That is very true, very true. Right. He stands to his massive imposing height, necks his pint in one, turns to one of the other gangsmen. Jameson, get on the tube to the rest of them. We've got some droids to destroy.
Gus puts up a finger. Just one thing.
Mm.
They have a friend of ours, a young Faleen, named Dusko.
Oh, I know Dusko. Very generous he was. Bit of a poser, desperately trying to join us, and you know he's never ridden a swoop in his life. He ain't about the lifestyle, I think he just wants the kudos.
Oh, he's just a kid there, Chief. You know, he doesn't know about the life yet.
Oh well, from the sounds of things he's learning very quickly. You think these clankers have got him? No offence.
None taken. It is safe to assume that they do indeed have Dusko.
Right, well as long as he stays out of our way, we'll make sure he's fine. Can't promise if he steps into crossfire though.
It is always a risk.
Sean would also like to stand up imposingly and knock back his fizzy blue drink fiercely.
Yeah, smoking a cotton candy vape.
And I would not mind if you called for like a resilience check or something because he's trying to look cool, but he's trying to look cool, but he's still just an idiot.
I think the Deveroni still kind of gives you the nod, because anyone who can neck back a pint in one without immediately falling over, you know, it's still an impressive thing.
And I mean, if they're around for gig nights, they know Sean. He's not an unknown face.
Yeah.
And he looks proper scary.
Yeah, he's a huge, intimidating crocodile person.
with a tail, unlike Trandoshan, so they're only half a crocodile person.
And that's why Barabels are best. Sorry, Christine.
Not sorry, Christine.
But I think our camera pulls out from the bar as the sarcastic Panthers step out into the night on comms, get on their bikes and start making their way to a rendezvous point, and our heroes are left to decide what role, if any, they take further in the impending war that's about to kick off on the streets of Elmeron IV. And we will find out what that happens to be next time. But before we leave you, this episode's patron is Constance. Thank you very, very much for backing the show, and I have to admit that I am feeling a little bit guilty, and I hope that I didn't guilt you into backing the show with my announcement at the previous episode when I said how grateful I was for people backing the show because the cost of things had gone up. If that's the case, I will feel terrible and have to create yet even more interesting random Patreon content for you as my way of saying thank you more tangibly than just this. But I am going to say it again like this. Thank you, Constance, and indeed thank you as always to all of our patrons. You are wonderful, magnificent, ethereal, strange and peculiar creatures, and I love you all very, very much. That's all I have to say now. I'm going to let you go back to the rain around Elmeron IV, and we will see you next time for the finale of Augury Investigations Incorporated. Look after yourselves, my loves. Remain delightful. We will see you next time. Force Majeure is played using the Star Wars Force and Destiny game system by Edge Studios. Our intro music is by the amazing Sly Fox Audio. Check out more of her work at soundcloud.com/SlyFoxAudio. Our outro music is Suburban Outlaw instrumental version by Forget the Whale, used with gratitude under a Creative Commons license. Many of the sound effects and soundscapes are created using Sirenscape because epic games need epic sounds. If you're enjoying the show and want to support us, there's 3 ways you can do that. The first is by joining our Patreon at patreon.com/forcemajeurepod, where for as little as $1 a month you get access to outtakes, adverts, various other stuff, and my fortnightly ramblings. You can drop us a coffee at ko-fi.com/forcemajeurepod, or you can leave us a rating and review wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to interact with us, there's a few ways you can do that. We are on the social medias, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter as @ForceMajeurePod, and we're over on Mastodon as @ForceMajeurePod at dice.camp. You can also join our Discord, link in the show notes. Thank you very much for listening and being with us as we tell these stories. We hope you are having fun, and we will see you next time.